As type 2 diabetes, a third of San Antonians are pre-diabetic. So on March 28th, UT Health San Antonio is doing something to kind of be a wake-up call, for lack of a better word. Dr. Carolina Solis-Herrera, the chief of endocrinology at UT Health San Antonio, joined us as our guest for KSAT Q&A. Doctor, thank you for your time. Talk about what you want to achieve with this wake-up day.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to bring awareness to all of our community, because diabetes is such an important medical disorder. Here in San Antonio and Bexar County, we have one of the highest prevalences in the country, with certainly higher than the rest of the United States. And many of the individuals that have diabetes, they don't know they have it. So pre-diabetes, you just said it, 1 out of 3 people. Diabetes, approximately 1 out of 6 people, but about a third of them, they don't know that they have diabetes, and that's why it's very important that they check with their doctors and that they keep a healthy lifestyle.
Doctor, what are some of the things that people need to pay attention to if you are going through your life thinking you're unaffected by diabetes? What are the signs that maybe you do need to go see a doctor?
Yeah, and unfortunately, like other medical problems, like high blood pressure, for example, and diabetes, you don't get too many symptoms until it's very uncontrolled. And when that happens, it's exactly what you have in the screen. You get tired, you get hungry, you go to the bathroom frequently to urinate, you can have blurry vision, and you have tingling of your hands and feet. You can have cravings for sugars, getting fatigued, either eating too much or losing your appetite, or start losing weight spontaneously. If any of those things happen, you should go to your doctor and get a full checkup.
And I have to say, doctor, this is a subject that's very near and dear to my heart. Just last week, my father had a huge spike in his blood pressure. He has been diabetic for years now, and he nearly died. And it was like that. And so the idea that you have to pay attention to how you're feeling, because thank goodness he noticed how tired he was. He noticed all of the other symptoms you were just talking about, got to the hospital in time. Well,
and a lot of people think of blood sugar and maybe being dizzy and maybe fainting. But I mean, we're talking about heart disease, stroke. Just those are some of the adverse effects from diabetes, correct?
Absolutely. Diabetes is the #1 cause of blindness, amputation, and dialysis in the world. Then, of course, most of these patients with diabetes, they die of cardiovascular diseases, unfortunately, cardiovascular events, which means a heart attack or a stroke. So what we need to do, we need to have good control of their diabetes. They need to monitor because many times they don't feel anything. Again, until their sugar is extremely uncontrolled. So monitoring frequently, keeping a good lifestyle, and controlling the amount of carbs that they consume is very important. Of course, as we get older, there's more chances of developing diabetes. There are multiple risk factors. We can talk about them. Being part of the Hispanic population, for example, makes us more prone to develop diabetes. Having family members that have diabetes or siblings with diabetes also makes us more prone, which tells us that it has a large genetic component. However, our lifestyle is very important too. So if you are sedentary, if you're overweight or obese, if you consume a lot of carbohydrates, all those things can lead you into possibly developing type 2 diabetes. Also, for women, if you have history of children that were born over 9 pounds, or that you were diagnosed with gestational diabetes, you actually need to be checked yearly for the rest of your life, because you have a high risk of developing diabetes in the next 10 years.
I had no idea about that. That is some very important information there. And I guess it goes without saying that this isn't just for older people. Right now, the idea of childhood diabetes and the prevalence of prediabetes in really young children should wake us all up to the idea that we need to change our lifestyles from the very beginning.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you for bringing that up. That is so important because it's not only in adults. We keep seeing patients that now they're younger and younger and younger. And in pediatric endocrinology, here in San Antonio, several years ago, it was documented the youngest case of type 2 diabetes in a child that was 5 years old. So that is an extreme wake-up call that tells us that if a 5-year-old has type 2 diabetes because he has family history, because he cannot change his genetics, but also he was obese, sedentary lifestyle, when you eat fast food very often, saturated sugars and fats, all of that, of course, can affect your metabolism. And if you're prone to develop diabetes, then it seems that now you can develop it at a younger age. Recently, there was a study that reported that our life expectancy for the first time in our lifetime has decreased by about 4 years. And it seems that this decrease in life expectancy in humankind in general is driven by the obesity and the diabetes pandemics. So we're actually living less now than ever. And this is more true in minorities, African Americans, Hispanics. This is why it is so important to act immediately, aggressively, and then just take charge of our own health.
Yeah, March 28th is Diabetes Alert Day. I want to give a number out right now and email so people can get more information if they want to make an appointment. If you have any questions, if you're feeling some of the symptoms that maybe we described, get checked out. That is the first step, right, doctor?
Absolutely. Please give us a call. Please go to our website or go to your doctor, but please get yourself checked so that you're sure that you're safe.
That's right. We want to keep everybody healthy. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Carolina Solis Herrera. She is the chief of endocrinology over at UT Health. We really appreciate your information and hope we made a difference today.
Thank you
doctor.
very much for having me.
I appreciate your time. We'll be right back.
A woman who used her husband's wartime injuries to fake his paralysis sentenced in federal court today. Josephine Perez Gorda will now spend nearly 4 years in jail for submitting false paperwork to get hundreds of thousands of dollars in VA benefits.
The San Antonio police trying to find the suspect who shot and killed a man at a Northside apartment complex. SAPD says the man was killed in a stairwell. No description of the suspect has been released.
The victim in a deadly motorcycle crash has been identified. He is 20-year-old Jonathan Augustin Torres. Torres died after crashing his motorcycle into the back of a pickup.
And landlords who refuse to fix their apartment complexes will be forced to pay more. It's due to the city council passing the proactive apartment inspection program today. You can find these stories and more right now on KSAT12, and that's your 60-second recap.
Taking a look outside with live cam, the day coming to a beautiful end.
Very nice out there, Adam.
It is, yeah, we cleared out for now, but give it several hours after sunset and the low clouds will start to redevelop and fill back in. And tomorrow morning is going to be really more of the same. Right now we're at 83. We'll drop down to 76 at 9 p.m. By midnight we're at 71, and tomorrow morning we wake up to 68 degrees. And notice that rain chance, it's just at 20%. I wish I had better news in terms of coverage of showers and even a few thunderstorms. Speaking of storms, we'll be back to talk about where some severe storms could develop, along with some daily rain chances next week and how much rain we could see in just a bit.
All right, you know what day it is? I'm sure this is a special treat for you because you don't usually get to do the 6 o'clock.
It's been a while.
How long since you've done a thermometer Thursday?
About 3-4 months.
See? What a treat.
And
what an honor.
I should have brought flowers, balloons, something.
Yeah.
Well, I've got
I say treat this way. What a treat.
I've got confetti. I keep it behind the studio.
Yeah, we know.
And there's still some up here.
From that confetti gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Oh, it comes down every so often if I can just blow hard enough. It's a gift that keeps on giving. And it's almost that time of year again where we can pop it off for Fiesta, even right here in the Weather Center. Okay, now I'm getting ahead of myself, getting excited. Anyway, let's take a look at rain chances. 20% tomorrow morning. We'll have a few thunderstorms in the hill country and maybe a few brief showers locally tomorrow morning. But unfortunately, I don't see much in terms of overall coverage. Next week, we do get into daily rain chances, but we're talking 20%. So isolated in nature and very light, probably not adding up to a whole lot, but we'll take every drop that we can get. The new drought monitor is in. Going to take a look at that in just a moment. Let's get right to the overall weather pattern and what we're dealing with. Looking at the satellite and radar, our clouds cleared on out and they'll fill back in tonight, but we're enjoying a nice evening. The severe weather zone, that's up in extreme North Texas. We're talking around Wichita Falls, stretching into Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri. Those yellow polygons indicating where we have the severe thunderstorm watches and already some severe thunderstorm warnings within those areas. No surprise, it's in the vicinity of the stalled frontal boundary there. But we're watching this cold front that's in West Texas right now. That's the one that's going to move through tomorrow morning, bringing with it a broken line of showers and storms. Notice midnight on the futurecast, developing in West Texas, and then gradually moving our way. I think a lot of it's going to fall apart as it moves our way, but even in the hill country, Edwards Plateau, a broken line basically of showers and thunderstorms. So some activity out there, but not everybody getting hit. And then we get closer to the morning commute and a few leftover showers possible here around San Antonio and surrounding communities. Then the cold front moves through and behind it, nothing but sunshine for the afternoon. So yeah, a little drizzly in spots tomorrow morning, cloudy, and a few showers here and there. But by the afternoon, outdoor activities will be A-OK. I do want to point out, through sunrise, there is the threat of severe weather, and that's north and west of San Antonio. Parts of the hill country, an isolated threat. We're talking from Bracketville to Lakey to Bandera, Kerrville, Mountain Home, Ingram, up toward Fredericksburg, but a slightly higher chance as you get Valverde County up to San Angelo and Wichita Falls. It's all dependent on exactly where some of those storms develop. Now let's take a look at our drought monitor. Look at up and down the plains. That's where we have the most significant drought across the entire lower 48 right now. The West, they're starting to erase that drought. Locally, the worst is right here, San Antonio and surrounding areas, especially as you get a little farther to the north, up into the hill country, San Antonio to Hondo, Bandera, over toward even New Braunfels and Blanco and Fredericksburg. This whole bullseye here, unfortunately, is one of the worst spots in Texas when it comes to drought. 64% of the state in drought. I do want to point out California, of course, making national headlines over the past 2 to 3 months for the atmospheric rivers coming onshore, basically big plumes of moisture coming off the Pacific and leading to the rain and high elevation snow. Some ski resorts in the higher elevations in the mountains of California have had over 700 inches of snow. They've wiped away most of their drought, and just put it in perspective, just 3 months ago, over 97% of the state was considered in drought. Now it's closer to like 30%. Anyway, their conditions continue to get better and their reservoirs are getting higher. 83 our high temperature today. Right now we're at 83 degrees. Dew point is 68. That wind coming off the Gulf of Mexico, we feel that mugginess that's back in the air, the humidity. That changes tomorrow with the cold front. That's one noticeable change. Dew points tomorrow afternoon back down to 50 and then dropping even more into Saturday. And that's going to mean some cooler mornings for the weekend. So right now we're 82 Helotes, 82 Converse, Stinson, 85 degrees. By tomorrow morning, 68 at sunrise. The afternoon, 86. Yeah, cold front, but it's still going to be plenty warm in the afternoon. Just lower humidity and a bit of a breeze out of the west at 10 to 20. Saturday morning down to 50 degrees, still 82 and sunny by the afternoon. Sunday afternoon, or Sunday, we start the day at 54. So some cooler mornings this weekend. Next week, high temperatures reel back a little bit down into the 70s.
Looking forward to that weekend.
We're looking forward to this.
Oh, yeah.
I know, it's been a while since you've been around for a therm Thursday.
Yeah, sorry.
Right?
Sorry. Didn't mean to jump ahead.
All right, so just, about a week and a half ago, I was back in Washington, D.C., and I was at my very good friend's house. He's a Penn Stater, so that explains the hand-painted logos that I put on there. But what I want to point out, this has been in his porch for 10 years now. This is a good testament to what keeping a homemade thermometer and any liquid in glass thermometer in the shade. It's so important to keep it in the shade. It cannot have any kind of sunlight or sun exposure. Any direct sunlight will fade the coloring and also, of course, inflate the readings of the thermometer and degrade it more quickly and more rapidly, sometimes to the point where I can't even repair it. So I wanted to point this out. This one's still in good shape. He needs to clean it. And I guess I could.
Well, he probably didn't know you were going to put it on TV.
Yeah, I guess I could have done that while I was there. I do make them so when you put them outside and they get dirty, look at that, that you can just run it under the sink and just wipe it off. I mean, that's the way I make them, so you can do that. But they really just need to be in shade, and these aren't just homemade ones, but any liquid and glass thermometer. All right, we've got another winner today. Carol Herrera, San Antonio. Congratulations. You can go to KSAT.com/thermometer to enter the drawing for a homemade thermometer. It's not going to be a Penn State one, Carol. It's actually the beautiful Texas one right there.
There you go.
He gave me one of those once.
Really?
It still works, too.
There you go. Hope you keep it in the shade. The Buzz is up next. It is time for The Buzz. The world's first 3D printed rocket launched towards space yesterday. It failed to reach orbit, though, due to an engine issue. The spacecraft ran into issues after the engine meant to propel it into orbit expended its fuel, leaving the rocket without enough power to reach orbit.
The mission, named Good Luck, Have Fun, not so much good luck, was what the company described as a prototype for its future planned missions to haul lightweight satellites into orbital space. Relativity co-founder and CEO Tim Ellis says the company's 3D printers could be a game changer for manufacturing all across several industries. Also, a McDonald's in Michigan hosting an egg cracking contest to celebrate Agriculture Month in the state. Ionia County is home to a ranch that is the largest egg producer in Michigan.
Yeah, in 2021, McDonald's bought 56 million dozen eggs from Michigan farmers and suppliers. The winners of this year's egg cracking contest was Bonnie. She's the manager of McDonald's in North Ionia County. And we'd show you her picture because I'm sure she was shell-shocked.
Well, it's one of these two ladies, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Boy, pretty good.
It's all it's cracked.
Thanks so much for joining us for the news at 6.
See you back here on the Night Beat at 10.